All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Insurance 360. Rob,
What's going
my good
on?
friend.
If you're asking, I still have hair. It's just hanging on by a thread, but it's there.
It's good to know, man. This time of year, it's so hot, you're probably in a better position.
Except for the beard on my face. That's probably a terrible decision, but the wifey loves it. So,
Oh, man, you got
happy wife, happy life.
I hear you. Yeah. And we are in the 80s today, so it's not 100 degrees, so that's always good. I mean, it's been kind of a mess here for June anyway.
Well, you know what? We both have brand new air conditioners.
Thankfully, it went out the week before it went to 100 degrees, so I'm good. Yeah. So, as we know, AEP is sort of a year-round thing for us right now. It's AEP certifications coming out. Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Something that I know we want to get into is not only the carrier stuff, but AHIP a little bit, which is always fun. So
love doing it every year.
Yeah, we'll chat a little bit about that. Necessary evil. We know the drill. And I'm so thankful today that when we talk about AEP, we talk about certifications. I always think about the life of the agent. Agent's normal person. He's out there. He's trying to get through his summer, family vacations, all this stuff's running out. So what's all the procedures? What's going on? Everybody's doing things a little bit differently. So I was able, thankfully, to grab one of our top agencies in the country, Jeremy Boz of Tyler Insurance, out there in, well, I shouldn't complain about it being hot. He's out there in Nevada, so it's normally like 90 degrees if it's not 100 already. So, Jeremy, so thankful you could jump on with us, man. Grab a couple of minutes of your time.
No, we appreciate it. Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you, gentlemen. So looking forward to this. And we're not quite at 100 yet. We hit 111 last week, and then kind of dipped down. So today is a nice, cool 97 degrees.
Beautiful. You don't even need an air conditioner there this time of year. I mean, that's no big deal at all.
Good suntan weather.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were talking a little bit beforehand, and you don't realize this. Jeremy does like to do a little running. So we were talking a little bit about his 100-mile runs through the desert. So I don't think the heat affects him at all. Like, I think you kind of thrive in this kind of environment, right?
I mean, I'd love to say that's the truth, but I suffer at every race no matter what. I am an ultra runner that just hopes to survive a race versus the people that actually win. I always joke about this. Like some of the people that I run with, they're good runners. They'll finish a race in, let's call it 18, 20, 22 hours. They're solid. That's 100 straight miles of running. I'm more of a eat donuts and finish in 27 hours kind of runner. As long as we finish, we get there. I'll say this. I can deal with the heat better than I can ever deal with the wind. The wind is kind of the one thing in running I'm like, it's not good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a nice warm breeze, the whole 100 miles. That's probably great.
Look, I'll say this. I just started running. I started running on the weekends.
There you go.
Shed some office weight. And I will say this, one thing, and Jeremy, you can agree with me or disagree, but running shoes are amazing. It's like running on clouds compared to just, like I tried running in basketball shoes the first week. It felt like I ran 4 miles. My legs hurt for 3 days. It was a totally different experience with running shoes.
Yeah, 100%. Like I use very different running shoes when I run. I prefer to run trail versus road. And there's 2 different types of shoes. But yeah, you're 100% right. I use a very specific brand for the trail versus the road. If you're running, like always go a half size bigger, right? Because your feet start to swell once you hit a few miles in. And you're going to have to try different brands. And then you're like, oh my God, this shoe is great. And this shoe is terrible. Well, you're 100% right. It makes all the difference in the world. And it's really what works for you. So I'm glad to hear you're running, and that's fantastic. So now you got to jump into a 50-miler with me, Rob.
You got an invite right now.
Do you want me to perish on live TV, Jeremy? Because that's probably what I need to work my way up. I hit the mile range. Now my next step is to hit the 2-mile range, and we're working up. I got some buddies that we talk smack to each other. Hey, I did 2, I did 3. So I'm very competitive. It gets the juices flowing.
Before we talk insurance, I'm going to give you the best advice that was ever given to me. So I went from not running at all, just lots of martial arts, jiu-jitsu, and then when COVID hit, my first race, I jumped from not running to a 50-miler within a handful of months, right? And the best advice I got when you're starting running is walk run. So if you ran a mile on Saturday, that next day, go out and walk run. So do like 3 minutes of running and 3 minutes of walking to get to 2 or 3 miles. This concept of like, I have to go until I can't stop is is such an old concept. And it's really, listen, most of my runs are lots of walking, but that endurance builds up. So if you run out and you want to beat your buddies and you want to crush them, and they don't need to know you ran, who cares? If you did a 5-2, 5 minutes running, 2 minutes walking, and when you're walking, that's when you take your water, your gels, whatever, that time can still average, for me, I will still average 11 and a half minute, 11 minute, 12-minute miles if I'm doing a 5-2. And when I get really tired, I'll do like a 3-3, 3 minutes running, 3 minutes walking. So if you try that, one of our top agents, he went from no miles at all to a half marathon in a week. And I gave him a walk run strategy and he finished the half in 3 hours.
Wow.
So that's the best advice I ever received.
That is actually what I was doing. So a buddy of mine turned me on to a running app. And it breaks you in. Like the first week, it's like run a minute, walk a minute. The second week is run 2 minutes, walk 2 minutes. So we're getting there. But,
All right,
but I'm a
all
rookie.
right.
Next time we have you on, I'll let you know where I'm at.
Yeah, we'll have to get them out there with you. Huh?
Congratulations, dude. It's an awesome thing. So keep it up.
Thanks, man.
That's great.
I didn't think I'd like it, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, I think it's a mental part of it. So, Jeremy, I mean, we've known each other a long time now, probably 10, 12 years, give or take at this point. We kind of go way back. Your evolution in the industry, we could talk a little bit about that, but you sort of worn plenty of different hats, whether it's been inside at a carrier and then being part of an agency and then really turning an agency into one of the largest producing agencies in the country and many states and all the different teams that you're building. So thinking about going through all of that, how has that progression helped you, seeing things from a different angle, right? From inside the carrier, their perspective on things, and now from an agency's point of view. And not to mention that you've got your own pretty sizable book of business as an agent out there selling yourself.
Sure. I guess we could start again. The first things, thank you. Our success as an agency, this is due to you all and Pinnacle and the support you provide. I am a relationship-based person. It's how I was raised. It's how we do things. And I don't believe in splitting contracts. Our success is due to the amount of effort and work you all have put into us, how much you all have taught us from when it was just Laura, myself, and 2 admins, 2 agents, and some Costco tables to where we are now. So first of all, thank you to you guys, because we couldn't be where we're at today without that. So big shout out to you all and everything you do for us on a daily basis. I think it's interesting. So on the carrier side, when I was with Anthem and even United for a short while, you get to see the inner workings of the carrier and their thought process. And I don't say this to be disrespectful of a carrier, but they're just a machine putting out a product that does change lives in many capacities. But at the same time, anytime you talk about an organization with hundreds of thousands of employees and shareholders and this and that, there's always that question of, do they have the best interest of the end user, in this case, a Medicare Advantage recipient, in their mind? I think the unique perspective that we have, and I know this is going to be the anti-establishment agency of their thought process, we still sell. And one of the things that I say is I'm always shocked when I run into other agency owners that don't sell and they have this large production. I'm like, how do you know what your brokers need if you're not selling? The unique things that we did early on that got us to where we're at today is, if you just take examples, Laura and I used to sit in retail. When we saw 20, 30, 50 agents, I was doing retail 20, 30 hours a week. I was not trying to outsell my agents. I was trying to build a book to generate an income to support the agency in conjunction to what you all were doing with us. So we look at the carrier side to going out there and selling and trying to sell 100 during open enrollment and doing retail and doing seminars, getting in the community, grassroots, and all of our partners in Connecticut and Tracy and all that, they all do the same thing. We have this kind of mantra that all managers and all the agency owners and all the partners, you got to go out and sell. Not because you need to. We're at a point where Laura and I don't need to sell. We love to sell. I still sell probably 8 or 10 a month. And the response that I get from people is like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, well, if you're managing it efficiently and you're out in the field like your team is, you're going to be better suited to help them business plan from a year 1 agent to a 10-year agent that wants to sell their book. So when we look at the total scope of these things, I always say that we are who we are because we're in the community and we sell. And that's the reason why when we go to some of these newer markets like Bob, and I'm sure you guys are aware, that, Bob and Rob, when you think about this, it's like we're doing Kentucky right now. You spent a bunch of time in Kentucky, and Andrew's going to run that market. And he's phenomenal. Austin's going to help him, but it's very grassroots. Like what Kentucky is what Nevada was 10 years ago. And you look at this whole giant scope of things, and I feel that we're better suited with your tools and the effort that we put in to train agents. So it's just one big rolling picture, and you kind of learn as you go. And I think the biggest key is knowing it's going to change every year. What we do this year going into 26 looks very different from 2020. What we did in 2020 looks very different from when we started with you all in 2013. So the long-winded answer to that is how we view the landscape. And I think at the end of the day, if you don't know who you serve, who I serve, who you all serve, the carrier serve is the end user of that product, the person consuming the Medicare Advantage plan, and our job is to help them. There's no way around that. It all comes down to, does this product help this end user? If the answer is yes, it's our job to educate them on how.
Yeah, that's huge. And that's what I think is so critical. We talk about this all the time, really having that knowledge. And what you're saying is you're walking the walk. So when you're talking to an agent, you've experienced what they're experiencing, and you're still experiencing it because all the changes that they see, you're seeing the same stuff. In the state by state, to your point, the markets are also very different a lot of times. I mean, it really is. And obviously, everybody's got different personalities. As somebody who's running an agency, we jokingly call you like the agent whisperer, right? Depending on who you're talking to, and you know how to handle them. It's so important as an agency owner is to be able to manage different personalities, different markets. You've got people that are newer to Medicare, people that have been in it for a long time, or somebody that's been in insurance a long time, maybe it just hasn't been Medicare. So when you're going through all this, obviously this is certification season. So this is just like step one, right? Where the stuff's coming out, and I was talking with Rob, you're our trainer. I think you should talk a little bit about the certs this year. AHIP we know is always a bear, but this year, what were you telling me?
So 2 years ago, AHIP was just normal. Right? You know, if you're recerting, right? So if you're not a brand new agent, you can just do testing for 1, 2, and 3. There's 5 modules in a test, right? And 4 and 5, you could just read through at your own pace and get to the end. Last year, they implemented a 10-second timer for modules 4 and 5, which I was a little peeved about, but it's not terrible. I get what they're trying to do there. This year, there is no timer. The timer is you have to sit there for modules 4 and 5 and listen to the narrator. I mean, you could keep them muted, whatever. And until they're done talking, you cannot skip through the slide. Modules 4 and 5 are the longest modules because they're majority of the time the changes, the do's, the don'ts, right? Marketing, all that. So module 4 is probably 30 or 40 slides at least. And I timed it. Some of them are 2 minutes where you're just sitting there. Like, I'm a pretty quick reader. So if you're taking AHIP this year, and one, if you're a brand new agent, you can't skip modules 1 through 3, right? So you're going to have to set at least 3 or 4 hours, at least, if you're a new agent. If you're a returning agent, I would have an hour and a half, 2 hours anyway, because maybe you almost audiobook it, but you keep it on there. I did know, though, and they're smart. So if you're in the same browser, the same tab, you can't just move to another tab in that same browser and look at something and come back. They'll actually stop the timer. So you actually have to open another window to do something else or answer emails, whatever you're going to do. In terms of all the other carriers, I mean, you got United and Aetna, which are pretty much pat. They really haven't changed much. Florida Blue was about the same. Devoted was about the same. So a lot of the carriers have stuck with their typical thing. They haven't really changed much.
So Jeremy, expect some calls. So during AEP season, your agents, not even talking about the technology, right? But there's a strategy to trying to get all these done. There's always new products coming into the marketplace. There's products that might be leaving the marketplace. So someone who's managing an agency and agents all over the place, so you come up with a game plan, right? And you talk to everybody about what they're going to do, get their certs done on time. How does that sort of work?
Jeremy's calendar is legendary, by the way.
It's legendary only in its color coordination, and that's more for my ADHD brain. Green means phone calls, yellow means task, orange means in-person appointment, purple means webinar meeting. I got into because somebody who has had ADHD my entire life, it's like you see a squirrel and you're on to the next topic. That keeps me focused. I use those tools with the agents. So, Bob, to answer your question, I show them these things. I'm like, hey, listen, here's your spreadsheet. Here's your carriers that you need to complete, right? And here's who's available right now. Here's who's not available. The managers and I, the partners and I, we'll just put that together and say, listen, get your AHIP done. And we can't help them with their tests. Everybody knows how it goes. But AHIP, if you're a veteran agent, you know it's usually the same stuff, right? There might be a couple of questions that AHIP gets wrong every year, because you know they do.
What they're looking for.
Yeah, 100%. We're like, oh, this is actually wrong. But the agents actually like to get together in groups. We'll buy them lunch, breakfast, whatever, and they'll just work through it on their own. And we're always around. So what's nice is the camaraderie with all of the agents. They're so used to doing this. You'll see them on a group text like, hey guys, I'm going to work on AHIP all day today. If anybody wants to just hang out with me, grab some coffee and breakfast. For the newer agents, it's much more hands-on in their first year, right? It's very overwhelming. You both know how many different carriers are now, even for some of the newer agents who have multiple states, California, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, they might have to do some carriers in California that aren't here. We just keep it simple. Here's your spreadsheet. Don't burn yourself out. Block off a couple hours each day, Monday through Thursday. Try to get one of these done. So in about a month, you're all set. It's honestly nothing more than that. If you're an agent or an agency and you've been doing this X number of years, the only thing that we should have to retest every year are all these new rules. I don't know what the hell they're teaching us in 5 modules that we haven't been doing for the last decade and a half already. So it's just weird. Like newer agents, they should have to go through it and they should take their time to go through it, because there's a lot of stuff that is important. But the 3 of us and the thousands of other people that have been doing this for a decade or 2 decades, Pinnacle is letting us know ahead of time. So it should just be like a bonus module, like, hey, you've done this for 10 years, or kind of like you did grandfather after 20 years with your license. Just give me this box, the box of you can't do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, no, it's daunting. It's probably not going to change. Government efficiency is an oxymoron we all know very well, and it's probably not going to change. And I love the organizational part of it, because I think so many people still wing it a little bit too much. I love the fact that we get organized, and especially if you're a seasoned agent and there's been a lot of changes over the last couple of years. I mean, imagine you got a big book of business, right? For those agents, Jeremy, they're going into AEP, and this year we're hearing it's going to be the same as last year. So now you've got to talk to all your clients, maybe change a good portion of them to something else, which is not what you optimally want to do. So how do we manage that book of business, still trying to grow our book even more during AEP? It's only 7 weeks long. Something's got to give, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think a couple of things. First, you all have been phenomenal. And this is why we can't say this enough, with the technology that you all go out and get for us, the investment that you guys, but you put in like $20 million into Boss or some crazy number.
Yeah, it's a lot. And growing.
First, I'd like to say, to keep it short and sweet, you got to start with your technology. The technology that you all have helped from Agency Block in the past to Boss, or you could hit a million different platforms, right? You're only as good as your technology, but you're still a human. So first, we have some veteran agents that right now what we're doing is we're having our admins help them get all of their clients into the CRM. That way, once we find out what the plan changes are, it's really easy to take this agent and say, okay, you did your search, step 1. Step 2 is your business plan. Part of that business plan, and I went through this in grad school, and it's one of my favorite things that I retained, is a business plan does not need to be complicated. It needs to be 4 or 5 boxes, right? So if you were to visualize a box with the agent's name and then 4 boxes below that, one of those boxes is your retention, your renewals. That's going to be, if you're a veteran agent, your biggest box, right? Box 2 might be, oh, I'm doing retail. Box 3 might be, oh, I'm doing T65. And box 4 might be, I'm making this up, I'm doing United Healthcare call blitzes. When we tackle one box at a time and you compartmentalize that, you take that box and you're like, okay, what do I do for my existing clients? Step 1, it's got to be in the CRM. Step 2, let's segment my clients by carrier and by product. If there's no major changes to plan ABC and you have 250 clients there, we're going to get that block tackled October 1st. We're going to have letters ready to go saying, hey, there's no major changes to your plan. If you're happy, you can stay with it. But if you still need help, let us know. And then we're going to call those people and just remind them, anybody other than me, if you get a phone call, a solicitation, a text, don't worry about it. You have me. I'm local. I live here. You have my cell phone. Let's get rid of that. Let me get those done in my first 48 hours. Here are my clients that are affected. Let me review those. I already have their medications because we put those in from last year. I already know their doctors. We have those from last year. Let me see what the best fit is. I'm going to get those clients done, right? Then the third box is, all right, that's all done. Let me focus on new sales and go back to my remaining boxes so I can grow my book. Our retention as an agency is well over 90%. And the reason is you have to get your existing clients handled first. There's no point to going to try to find new business if all you're doing is replacing people at an alarming rate. Think call center, right? We're not a call center. We're not a factory. Get your clients done in the first week or 2 weeks. And we have a rule. If you have over 600 clients, you better have an admin at least part-time, because at that point, what is the point, right? You can't do your job serving people, and it is a business expense. It's a tax write-off. We tell everybody, you get 500 or 600 clients, get an admin. Pay them 20, 25 bucks an hour, because they're not selling, but what they could do is help offset the time it takes to let your clients know, A, they're okay, or B, they're not, and we need to schedule a call or an in-person appointment. You get that block done first before you move on to finding and farming for new business.
I love that. Yeah. And the admin part of it, so many agents, I feel like, I don't know if fear is a part of it, but you're right. You'll end up losing more people than the cost is going to be for having an admin there to assist you. It really makes a ton of sense if you've got that big of a book of business. I mean, you need some help. Even if it's just helping you with the email center, coming in and letting you know high priority items and some of that other kind of stuff, I think it does go a long way. And I think that's a great point.
Let me add one thing where I think the admin is so valuable, even though for an agent it gets so expensive. But first of all, you get to write it off on your taxes, right? If you're paying somebody and you're a corporation, I'm not giving tax advice, but if you have employees, you get to write that off. You need something to offset your tax basis, and that's a great way to do it. But let's say you're an agent with 500 or 600 clients. The one thing I strongly advise against when it comes to renewals is labels. To print a label on your computer, you need to take the time to handwrite the envelope, handwrite the thank you card, put your business cards in. Clients will open, it's an old school method of thinking, but clients will open a handwritten letter and they will trash something that, even if it's from your agency, if you have to write 500 envelopes, stuff, seal, add a business card, put a stamp, that in itself is hours and hours and hours of work. But if you look at what it does for your retention when you're spending the extra time on those extra little details, you will lose far less clients, especially considering what does the average person get during open enrollment? An average Medicare recipient gets, I think the number is something like 108 pieces of mail once your data has been resold. That admin is going to take that load up. Then they're going to make your calls and say, hey, I work for Bob and Rob. Listen, there's no changes to your plan. Jeremy is happy to speak with you. Bob and Rob are happy to speak with you. But if you're happy, stay where you are. Do you want me to schedule a call? If you're an agent and you have a book with 300 or more and your stuff is still in a spreadsheet or in a folder, you are shooting yourself in the foot as you continue to grow.
Important point. Everyone check this off. What minute are we on there? We got to highlight this, right?
Yes.
And admin to help you, right? It only makes sense.
I love the tax write-off. Anything I can write off in my taxes, I will.
Yeah, if we can ever help in that. And I know when we're talking about growing your business, there's a lot of different ways to do that. And you want to have time, you want to be smart about it and be effective as well. Are you still seeing, Jeremy, a lot of the agents doing more meetings where they're inviting new people to grow the book of business? Is it a combination of I'm inviting existing people, or is it more just one-offs? I feel like the meetings you can get a lot more out of a lot of times.
I agree. I'm going to tackle 2 points on that. With regards to the meetings, whether it's a T65 meeting, right, or it is a member appreciation meeting, I think there's 2 ways to tackle this. So the first one, just to respect time, I love T65 meetings if they're done the right way with the right company, but they're very expensive. So what I usually advise is 2 agents partner together. Part of the culture that we've built is each agent, even though they're independent, they're not LOAs, they're brokers, they own their book of business, and they're technically in competition. Our culture is that they can work together because there's enough business for everybody. So we all the time will have agents partner. They'll reach out to Pinnacle or a company like Leading Response and say, hey, I want to do 2 T65 meetings. That cost with food and the event and the venue space and the mail-ins could be $6,000, right? So $3,000 per agent. But what we typically see in certain markets, and it is market specific, over those 2 meetings, you'll get 70 people in a room, 80 people in a room. So the key with that is with T65s, we find the sweet spot is 9 to 12 months out. So in those meetings, I feel that as an agent gets their stride and has a little more disposable income, that should be a regular thing you do with another agent to offset costs. No one agent can successfully tackle 70 clients in a room together over a 12-month window. It's not as efficient. You partner, you offset the cost, you get a bunch of people in the room, you do a Medicare 101, and you educate them over the course of that 9 to 12-month window. You build rapport, you help them sign up for Part B of Social Security. That's one avenue that should be an all year round thing. Your second box is, if you want to do a member appreciation, here's my recommendation. If you have a large book of business and as a good agent, you're going to know what provider you recommended for your client. It should be in your software. Meds, dollars, doctors, and drugs, right? What are their needs? What are their medications? What are their doctors? But what if they didn't have doctors and you made your recommendation? I'm going to make this up. Let's just use CenterWell. You put them with CenterWell. Well, if you have a large book and you referred a bunch of people to CenterWell or another network, we call it a bring a friend event. We partner with the CenterWell at their facility. We do raffles. It's an educational event. We do giveaways. And if they bring a friend, they get extra raffle tickets. They get to learn about the network. They get to be eligible for free giveaways and gifts and food and all of these things. Let me educate you about why I support Network XYZ, right? That's another thing. That's your current book, bring a friend event. Your third one is just your generic Medicare open enrollment meetings. I will say this. I just don't think they work like they did 10 years ago. I think they've been done to death. And I think a lot of times you get people who really don't care about changing or learning about what's out there that could benefit them. I think in some markets they work well. For example, if you are bilingual and your market is a group of people who, let's say, are primarily focused in Mandarin or Tagalog or Spanish or whatever it is, French, we tend to find better success with people who fit into a particular culture that they feel comfortable with in a community that might not have had as much focus as another community. Those we see work well, but those are run by agents who are in the community, speak the language, and that's their culture. So I look at those as 2 or 3 different types of meetings that an agent should have an understanding of. When is the right time? What will this cost me? And we partner with our agents. We'll co-op it, we'll educate it, we'll help the networks be a part of it. There's so many avenues in those meetings. Last but not least, do some things that are great for your community. We do turkey giveaways. This is something our agents created where we go into these senior facilities. It's not a sales event, but it's during open enrollment. We'll bring a provider out. They'll have an educational topic, something like diabetes, cardiac things. And we literally order hundreds of turkeys from Walmart about 6 weeks out. We bring the turkeys there and we just give stuff away. Right now, we're working on a big partnership with Goodwill to give low-income seniors a $100 gift card. And we bring the seniors through transportation that we've arranged to the Goodwill. And when they're there, they'll meet some of the local providers who really focus on geriatric care.
I love that. I think it's something we try and talk with our agents, whether they're a seasoned agent, whether they're a newer agent. I like the ABMs now. It's always be marketing, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're doing your meetings, whether you're hitting your grassroots, you've got to do it throughout the year. You're building your funnel, like you said, 9 to 12 months out. You've got to X-date those for whether it's AEP, when they're going to be aging into the market. I mean, you've got to have a good system, good technology to work all of that, but you've always got to have marketing. And that's another part of the budget that an agent's really got to accept, that if they're going to be successful, they've got to have a marketing budget, right? It's really difficult to just say you're going to get enough referrals at the end of the day. You really want to do some marketing throughout the year.
We're talking one tax write-off. I mean, that's another tax write-off right there. Music to my ears. But also what you mentioned, Jeremy, that I think is important is also thinking outside the box. right? I think we get busy. It's AEP. If you're not doing the planning that Jeremy mentioned, you're kind of just running, right? And you don't take the time to think about it. So if you're not thinking outside the box, I just think it's not going to help you. I had an agent who ran into somebody at a dollar store. They were doing a sales event, had a table at a dollar store, and they just bought a whole bunch of toilet paper. And they had toilet paper on the table, and people would come up and they're like, "Is this free?" And the person's like, "Yeah, take a roll of toilet paper. Do you have Medicare?"
There was a lot of issues with the toilet paper. If we all,
Yeah.
we all remember, you couldn't find any toilet paper.
That and hand sanitizer,
Yeah.
right? But think about that, right? It's thinking outside the box. And what you mentioned, Jeremy, those are great ways, non-traditional ways of thinking how to market. And I think more agents need to get on that train.
Yeah. So we're talking about get organized, make sure
Orange, yellow, purple,
your highlighters,
highlighters.
get yourself organized, get yourself an admin if you need an admin. Make sure you've got your marketing going year round, get it fired up. You are saying 70 people, maybe you don't need to do a meeting every month, maybe it's every other month. I mean, you'll figure that out, right, Jeremy, as how you can work that.
I think you guys are spot on. You mentioned something earlier about the size of somebody's book. I think a lot of agents that come in year one or year two, they almost try to do too many things. And that's such a challenging thing to bring on if you're just starting out. One, like you guys said, cost. It's expensive. Like, yes, it's a write-off, but if you don't have that pool of money to pull from initially, it gets expensive. Your business plan for a year one and two agent is not going to be the same as a year five agent. The only reason I keep going back to these things is I tend to find that people overcomplicate things. It's not that difficult. You should have your plan on a single piece of paper. It doesn't need to be a 50-page business plan. A little smiley picture of yourself at the top and 5 boxes or more or less. And the key with those boxes is, let's say, Rob, we're going to do retail, right? I'm going to do 30 hours of retail. What's my best guess of how many apps 30 hours a week in retail is going to get me over 7 weeks? Okay, let's assume it's, I'm going to make this up, 20 apps. Okay, well, if my goal is 100 and I'm guessing retail's 20, these other 4 boxes are going to fill the other 80. Okay, maybe I'm a year 3 agent and I have 300 clients and I'm going to get referrals. Maybe that's another 20. Okay, now I've got 40. I still want to get 60 more. Maybe I'm doing meetings. Maybe I'm doing senior centers. Just keep it to 3 to 5 boxes. And you need to keep those and put it in a folder. So when next year you're looking back in July and you're doing your planning with Rob and with Bob or your manager, your team, you can look back and see, okay, what did I actually do? What actually worked? And here's the beauty of the software that you guys have given us. Every time you sell a policy, just put a little note that says, this came from retail. This came from the senior center. This came as a referral. So when you look at those things, you can say, okay, this actually did hit 20. Or you know what? I spent 30 hours a week at retail and that particular store did not work. I only got 5. Maybe I don't do retail this year. Maybe I do something else. So I just feel like the organization needs to be simple. It needs to be planned in July, and you need to start implementing as early as September. If you've got a book of 6 or 7 or 800 or 1,000 and you're doing your handwritten renewal letters like, hey, it's open enrollment, you need to do that in September so they're ready to go in October. That's just the time frame.
That makes a ton of sense. I love all the preparedness, a big event that's coming up in September.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know, Jeremy, you may have heard about this big event in Orlando called the Championship Event. And it's going to have all the carriers there where you're going to have the product information is going to be out. You're going to have the tech companies there. You're going to have the carriers there. You're going to hear about all the products, all the marketing initiatives, lead programs.
Pretty cool venue, by the way.
Kia Center, which is in Orlando Magic Play there. And Rob, once again, as always, the cost to attend?
My mom's favorite price, free.
Free to attend for agents. We're talking about marketing costs and whatnot. I think information is at the forefront. Data is at the forefront of what we're talking about to be successful. Got to be organized, but it's got to be based on real, true facts and information, right?
Yeah, you all put on, let me tell you, for anybody who sees this, whether you're with Pinnacle or not, and if you're not, you really need to consider who your upline is. Let's be fair about that. You all put on the best damn events. We have a ton of agents going. I think you did your event in Jersey, then Nashville, then Philly. We had agents attending, all of them, managers attending. We're really excited about the Orlando event. what you all do for us as a downline entity and the education and the tools that you provide, just like we said earlier, I wouldn't say this if I didn't mean it. It's extraordinary. The amount of time and effort and thought you all put in to making us better is extraordinary. And anybody watching this, if you can get out to Orlando, you need to get out to Orlando. You need to make this an effort to get outside your comfort zone. Go see Bob and Rob and Nick and everybody else who puts in so much work day in and day out to make us successful. We are super, super stoked about this event. Thank you all for putting this together because we know it's going to be killer.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, man. And I don't know of a better way to end it than on that note, man. We really appreciate you jumping on, and
Thanks,
a
Jeremy.
ton of great information. Whether you're a seasoned agent, whether you're a new agent, a lot of times we do things until we don't do them because they worked and we get successful and we forget about those things that we did previously.
Yeah.
So always have a plan, stay organized. This AEP, it's going to be crazy, but it's always crazy. Make sure you just manage your time and we'll be good, right? At the end of the day, we'll all have a great year and we'll continue to help people manage their Medicare, which is, again, the number one goal of everybody.
Gentlemen, really appreciate both of you and all the work you put in and everybody at Pinnacles. I can't thank you enough for having me.
All right, man.
Thanks,
Thank
Jeremy.
you. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a good one.